I just found out my fiance of 9 years cheated on me for several years. My fiance Heather and I have been together since we were 24 and 20. We met each other when she started working at my place of employment and immediately hit it off. Within a few months, we moved in together and happily lived together for 3 years. When I was 28, I got an amazing job opportunity out of state. It came during a great time because our lease was just ending, so I decided to take the offer. Heather initially was good to come with me, but decided to temporarily stay behind to help her family take care of her sick grandma. After her grandmother passed away, several other familial obligations kept coming up, so she never ended up joining me permanently. I was gone for nearly 4 years, but we started in a long distance, what I thought was a committed relationship the entire time, with her periodically living with me for a few months at a time. Tonight, I decided to finish up my Christmas shopping and remember that Heather had talked about wanting to buy a particular camera lens in an email earlier this year but needed to pay off some bills first. I no longer have access to that email account, but I thought I would be an amazing boyfriend and find a way to get her the expensive gift that I knew she would love. So I decided to see if she still had the email in her sent folder. We live together again and share everything, so I honestly didn't think it was an invasion of privacy or anything. But I ended up discovering that she was cheating on me for almost the entire duration that I was gone. I completely got it. From what I can tell, the guy lives out of state, and based on their communication, I don't think they ever met up. But after doing a bunch of digging, I'm disgusted with what I found and have no doubts that she cheated on me. Her emails was full of videos of him jerking off, discussing crap she sent him, explicit conversations, plans for a future together, etc. What makes me the most angry upset is she even saved screenshots and audio recordings of Skype conversations and whatnot that they had. For what reason, I don't know. But it's clear to me that she loved this guy at one point. After spending the last 5+ hours searching frantically through all her personal information like a disgusting creep while she sleeps, it appears that their relationship ended at least a year ago, which makes sense because that's not too long after I got back in town. Now that I know all this, it's so obvious and I feel like a giant fool. All those times when she was too tired to talk or was busy with family stuff, she was just talking to that a hole. I just don't know what I should do. We just moved into our new house together this summer. We have pets together. All our finances are intertwined. We are supposed to leave in a few days to spend a week with my family for Christmas and then a week with hers. And our wedding is scheduled for next fall. What the duck am I supposed to do? Is this something that counseling could even get us through? A part of me just want to pretend I never found any of this out because it's going to completely duck up my whole life. But I know I will never be able to look at her the same way again. Should I just fume about it in secret for the next few weeks so I don't ruin our family's Christmas and then deal with it? I'm so pissed off right now, but I don't want to make any rash decisions as much as I hate my fiance in this moment. She's all I've ever loved for the last 9 years, and if there's some way to make this work, I'm willing to try. I just logically don't know how I'll ever forget the conversations they had. Please help. When I wrote that post, I wasn't in the clearest state of mind and was desperately trying to keep my life from falling to pieces. However, when I woke up the next morning, there was no question what I need to do. While writing the Reddit post, I started drinking. So, after continuing to drink while reading your guys' comments, I was in no shape to drive anywhere, so I decided to crash on the couch. First thing in the morning, I was able to get a hold of my boss, who is an amazing guy, and let me start my Christmas vacation 2 days early. All I had to tell him was that a situation arose that is going to require me to call off my wedding, and he didn't need me to explain any further. While my fiance got ready, left for work, I pretended to be asleep on the couch. She tried to wake me up to ask me about the booze couch work situation, but I just pretended to be really tired and mumbled that I'd text her later. As soon as she left, I got busy. I quickly went to the store and got printed ink and a new flash drive, then stopped by our bank and moved half of our joint checking savings into my personal account. When I got home, I made printouts of several of her damaging conversation screenshots and a few still images of that a hole jerking off. Then saved all that and a bunch of pics, videos, audio recordings, etc. to the flash drive. I was able to get some of our credit cards, insurance, and other financial items sorted out to be closed or in my name only. Luckily, we pay off our credit cards every month, so closing those down weren't an issue. As stupid as it sounds, one of the main things I was worried about was my pets. I wasted nearly 2 hours of my daily digging through old paperwork until I found both of their adoption packets, which, even though we had adopted them together, I had luckily filled everything out just in my name. I spent the last few hours that I had before she'd be home from work and packed as many of my items as I could into my truck, left copies of the printouts on our coffee table in our living room, and then took my dog and cat and all my family's Christmas gifts and drove to my brother's house. I planned on confronting her later that night, but I wanted all my important stuff to be out of the house so I could make a quick getaway after we talked. For all those people asking why I just didn't kick her out, it's complicated. The house originally belonged to her family and we bought it together. I couldn't just kick her out. If I wasn't going to be in a relationship with her, I wanted nothing to do with that house anyway. Also, she's quite wealthy, so if either of us had the means to buy the other person out of the house, it would be her. Anyway, about an hour after she should have been home, I got a text from her that said, "Are we going to talk about this?" So at that point, I drove home. I don't know what I expected her reaction to be, but it certainly wasn't what I got. I figured she would be remorseful, apologetic, something, but she was just completely cold. I could tell she had been crying, but she didn't show any emotion towards me. As soon as I sat down, she said she noticed the bank accounts and asked me what we are doing about the house. I tried to keep my composure, but I basically broke down and asked her if she had anything to say for herself and asked why she did this. She told me she was sorry, but that she didn't love me anymore and she planned on ending things after the holidays. Apparently, she thought she'd be happy with our relationship once we started living together again, but I guess that wasn't the case. I had no idea. She started to cry a bit when she told me that she still loved the other guy, even though they supposedly have never even met. She then told me she would buy me out of the equity we have in our house if I was okay with it, and that I could have what's left in our joint accounts to get a new place. I couldn't believe how cold and businesslike she was being. I didn't know this person. I said okay and laughed. That's how my relationship of 9 years came to an end. I got back in my truck and bowled like a ducking baby. The next day, my brother and I left for my parents' house, and I've been here ever since. You guys were right. My family has been great. Alcohol has helped me a lot too. I still have a lot of to figure out with my house and the rest of our belongings, but that's as much as an update as I can give. I haven't heard from her since I walked out. My dog and cat are here with me, so I have that, at least. Thanks for helping me out. Cheating wife moved out to her affair partner. He kicked her out 8 months later, and now she's begging to take her back. My wife, 38 female, and I, 37 male, met back in college. We dated for 5 years before getting married. Our marriage has been good with a little ups and downs. We have two girls, 13 and 15. January last year, I noticed my wife spending more time on phone more than normal. She basically did what every typical cheaters does: lied, blame shifted, and gaslighted me when I tried to express my concerns. I know I wasn't perfect and I did some things that I regret very much, but she treated me like a piece of crap all this time during her affair. I tried to improve all the aspects of our relationship that she felt like they were not good. When D Day came in the beginning of June, she confessed to having an emotional affair and sleeping with him only twice. Then she blamed me for her affair. She said that she wanted to reconcile and we tried reconciliation, but she was just not into it. She still contacted him and they were still talking. When I told her how uncomfortable it made me, she said they were just friends and kept deleting texts even when I told her not to. When I threatened divorce, she would cry, apologize, and beg me not to. When I tried to bring up the affair, she would get mad, and somehow I was the one who ended up apologizing. Then, after 2 or 3 months, she started disappearing again, saying that she was visiting family because they needed her at that time. I knew she was going to CAP, and when I brought it up, she was very convincing. One week she disappeared and didn't pick up my calls or answer my texts. And when she came back, she told me that her cousin had gotten sick and they had to rush her to the hospital and forgot her phone at her sister's place. And all this time I was trying to make it work for us. She saw all the efforts I made but just didn't give a duck. Then by mid December, she told me that she was moving out, that she had been unhappy in our relationship, and while she still cared for me, she was in love with AP. She had finally found her soulmate. I remember crying for hours trying to beg her, but her mind was made up. We had to tell the kids. She said that I could have the kids for the weekdays, and she could come visit them on weekends since her AP's apartment was small. She filed for divorce a week after. This was the worst moment of my life. I grieved for weeks. When I tried to talk to her to see if there was any chance, but all she said that she was sorry for everything she put me through, but her mind is made up. No one other than us knew. Both her and my parents knew that we were only separated, but never knew the reason. By the end of January, when her mom called me and insisted I tell the truth, I invited her over together with her dad. I told them everything, and like literally, I broke into tears and cried on my mother in law's shoulder. She comforted me and apologized for their daughter's behavior. I later told my parents and then some few close friends. Soon enough, everyone knew about us, and I started receiving comforting messages, others talking ill of my ex. Soon afterwards, my wife called me, crying, saying that I turned everyone against her and that she hates me. She said the people were threatening her, and AP and her dad hates. They had a close relationship. Her and sisters don't want to speak to her, and no one will speak with her without insulting her. This was mid April. At the beginning of June, her relationship with AP had fizzled out due to stress. I remember she came to see the kids and told me that AP kicked her out because he couldn't handle the stress of their relationship. She was living in a hotel room. She didn't look good at all like someone who was depressed. She asked if she could move back in, and I said no. She said that she understood but asked to spend more time with the kids. She said that she wanted to make up for the lost time with the kids and wanted to come in the afternoon and cook for them and spend time with them. I agreed. But this time she would come cook my favorite meal, clean the house, write a small note saying I love you together with flowers. When I came back home from work, she would always try to spend some more time with me. I have to admit I did enjoy spending time with her. Then she started talking about how much she misses me and asked divorce is what I really wanted. I always avoided these conversations. Last week now, she told me that she had been going to individual counseling and was wondering where we could try marriage counseling. She has started dressing the way like wearing makeup. She has tried to initiate Zags, but I have turned her down. She has bought me more goods and more than countless times she has brought up marriage counseling. On weekends she cried, begging me to not to go through with the divorce. that she has already put up with a lot. And all she wants me and her family back, and she will to do whatever I want. I know it's like the roles are reversed. All this time I have been numb, although part of me feels happy now that she has gotten a taste of her own medicine. I still love her, but I don't really know if I should give our relationship another chance.